What is going on, sixth grade? All right, if you're watching this video, we're just going to work on some skills that'll help you be a little bit more successful when it comes to working with number lines and integers. Now, as you can see on my screen here, we have a number line. We're going to be really focusing on scaling and plotting points approximately on our number line. There's a reason why we scale. If you look at this number line, it goes on forever. In sixth grade, we were really focused on working with numbers that are bigger than 100. This only goes up to about 120. So you can imagine that if you were asked to write or plot a number that's bigger than 100, look how long your number line will be. And that's not even including all our negative numbers. So it's important that we scale. Let's look at something that's a little bit easier for us to look at. Here we have this number line. Now, currently it's only set up by ones, but if I continue to scale back, you'll be able to see that now this small number line is able to show more numbers. Now I have 10, 20s, and 30s. I can continue to zoom out. Here's hundreds, and I can plot numbers all the way up to 300. I can continue to zoom out. Now I can plot numbers within thousands. So appropriate scale is important when we're plotting really, really big numbers. We want to make sure we're using the right scale on our number line. We're going to learn more about that as we continue on this video. Now that we understand the importance of scaling to help us plot numbers on our number line, let's look at our objective for today. Kids will be able to use absolute value, scale, and intervals to approximately plot numbers on a number line. As I was reading, there might be some words there that you are familiar with. Absolute value and number line are vocab words that we've learned in previous lessons. Absolute value is just the distance from zero, and a number line is what we use to plot our numbers. Some words that may not have been as familiar to you are words like scale, which is how we structure our number line to make sure we can plot all our numbers, and intervals, which is all the numbers in between our two scales. So the numbers between 0 and 3 are 1 and 2. Although they're not seen, we understand that they're there. The last word that's very important for today's lesson is approximately, which means we don't have to be exact or precise. We want to be in the general area where we think a number can be on our number line. Let's look at a model. We're being asked to plot the following numbers on a number line. We want to make sure that we're using an appropriate scale. What is the first thing we should do to make sure we do this correctly? Our first step is to find a number with the greatest absolute value. By finding this number, that'll be the furthest number from 0, which means that if our scale is appropriate, we should be able to plot that number on our number line. Notice how I didn't say the biggest number. As we learn more about integers and negative and positive numbers, we'll understand that sometimes some of the biggest numbers aren't actually as big as we think. So when we're looking for the biggest absolute value, we're looking for the number furthest away from 0. Out of these 4 numbers, which is the furthest away from 0? Just a reminder, absolute value is the number's distance from 0. Exactly. 35 is the number that is the furthest from 0 out of our 4 choices. Let's look at our next step. Our next step is to identify an appropriate scale. We want to make sure that this 35 can be plotted on our number line. We couldn't just write a number line that goes from 1 to 35. We don't have enough space based on what my number line shows in our model. So I want to make sure that I am scaling or skip counting appropriately so that the 35 can be plotted on our number line. One thing to keep in mind is that when we are writing out our scale, negative numbers start at 0 and then count up to the left. Positive numbers start at 0 and count up to the right. I'm going to model what this looks like on a whiteboard, but understand that you'll be asked to do this on Google Slides. So we want to make sure we're using an appropriate scale so that we can plot our number with our biggest absolute value, 35. Now, because we just want to figure out what the scale we're going to use, we don't have to fill out our entire number line. We just want to figure out what scale is going to be necessary for us to plot this 35. For the purposes of us understanding the structure of our number line, I'm going to start plotting on the negative side, but you are more than welcome to use the positive side, as it might be something you're more familiar with. Now, what I want to do is I want to start skip counting, right? I'm going to start by using the number 2. Is 2 going to be an appropriate scale or skip count for me to be able to plot this 35? Let's see. -2, -4, -6, -8, -10. It is not an appropriate scale, so I cannot use the scale of 2. Let me try 3. -3, -6, -9, -12, -15. Still not enough. It's not getting me anywhere near 35. Let me keep going. I'm going to use 4 now. -4, -8, -12, -16, -20. No, I'm skip counting by 4. -20, still not big enough for me to be able to do 35. And in case you're like, wait, but that's on the negative side and 35 is positive, remember that our scale is going to be the same on my positive side and my negative side. Let's try 5 now. 5, -5, -10, -15, -20, -25. Nope, that's still not enough. Let's try 6, -6, -12, -18, -24, -30. We're getting closer, but that's still not enough because I cannot plot -35 on the number line as it is right now. Let's try another one. Let's try 7. Let's see. -7, -14, -21, -28, -35. Oh, perfect. 35 is here. 35 is here. Now I can plot it. Now I can finish the scale on my positive side, which is going to follow the exact same thing. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Perfect. One thing to keep in mind is you still could use 8, a scale of 8, 9, or 10, anything bigger than 7 at this point. But because we only want to make it approximate or an appropriate scale, 7 is more than good enough for us to plot this 35 on our number line.